New York Ninja is a 2021 film officially because this movie has a really rich history. It was originally filmed in 1984 by John Liu. John Liu, if you're unfamiliar, he is a martial artist that was in a lot of movies that weren't Shaw Brothers movies. He was in movies like Secret Rivals 1 and 2 and The Invincible Armor, and he went to America in the 80s to make his own modern-day action epic called New York Ninja. However, the movie company went bankrupt and they lost a lot of the stuff. They lost the storyboards, the sound, the notes. They basically just had the footage, and the footage is the only thing they had. So they're able to, you know, bring it back to Blu-ray quality, but they didn't have anything, so they probably had to bring in people who can read lips to sort of reconstruct the script and try to figure out what's going on, the plot. And the result is something absolutely fantastic. The movie's super low budget. The movie's written, directed, and stars John Liu, as a character named John Liu. And basically he is a sound man for a TV news company. And after finding out his wife is pregnant in the opening scene, she's viciously murdered by thugs who kidnap women for a sinister villain. And he's distraught, but he's also a martial artist, so after having a big emo phase, he decides to dress up in a white ninja outfit and take the fight to the streets and become the hero that New York needs. So he begins by defeating street gang punks who attack people. He's able to keep the sort of secret identity a thing, but we find out the villain is the plutonium killer, a man who had experiments done on him, so now he's immortal, and he basically, his only weakness is light. And there's like Interpol agents. It's a very wacky, dated movie, but it's also timeless because it was filmed in the 80s, right? You can't recapture all that without spending a lot of money. And you can tell that they didn't film a lot of this movie legally too, because there's a lot of crowd shots. You can definitely tell that there was a very shoestring budget. They film a lot of stuff just like in the middle of the street. Handheld style. There's some fight scenes, like John Liu himself is a competent martial artist, but no one else is. So there's a lot of just, let's attack him one at a time, and they just go at him, and he just like kicks them in the face, and they're done. And yeah, the movie's super cheesy because it takes a while to get started. They just have a lot of him just fighting random people. They don't really get into the main plot of the kidnapped women. But there's also a lot of cheesy moments where like a guy will be like, haha, ninja, I got you in my sights with his gun, and then you know, he'll throw powder in the dude's face, and then the gun just goes away, because like most, you know, he's not like dressed black. It's not at night. Ninjas are supposed to be stealth fighters, but he's fighting in the day in like a bright white outfit. So you know, a ninja's weakness is guns, so there's a lot of like moments where they're like, oh, we got him, but then, you know, 5 seconds later they don't got him. And yeah, the action sequences aren't that great, but it has this undeniable charm and cheese. It's very campy in moments, but it's like there's ninja kids thrown in there too. There's like a fan club, and the villain's not that scary. There's a hilarious scene where he shows up and he just like starts cutting the chains off all the captured women, and they're like, oh, thank you. So this movie, yeah, really is a product of its time, but it's also a lot of fun. It's just a very unpretentious 80s cheeseball sort of action flick that you can just turn off your brain. It's really cool to see a movie like not be finished and then like brought back to life with today's technology. So New York Ninja is definitely a delight if you're into like, you know, those 80s action movies like Rambo or you know, anything in the 80s basically. Like there's a lot of ninja movies there too, but New York Ninja was definitely it's a little boring in other parts, but the first maybe hour is really enjoyable, and it has a pretty fun ending too. So New York Ninja, definitely worth checking out if you're into the 80s nostalgia. I give it a 7 out of 10.